Hey everybody, it's Lewis Porter Jr. It is Wednesday, June 15th, on a okay day here in Florida. Not too hot, not too serious. Give me that lovely weather report. I don't think it's gonna rain. It's kind of gonna be a nice day. Ugh. So of course, it being Wednesday, I decided, hey, let's start doing theme days. I think it might be important to start doing themes on days. So of course, if it's Wednesday, do comic book day, so that'll be our theme. We can talk about comic books and the retailing about comic books and how that ties into RPGs and gaming. I mean, it's all the same business. It's all family, as they say. So that's what we're probably going to talk about today. Also, I want to talk about a great thread I read over at Gary Ray, who owns Black Diamond over in Concord, California. Did an incredible story about Hastings and Sports Illustrated, Sports Authority going under, and some of the tactics they could have done to save themselves, and just some very interesting thinking. I might put a link at the bottom. If not, Black Diamond Games, Gary Ray, he has a website. Maybe I'll put the look. I'll try to put the link in the bottom when I put this on YouTube, so you guys can go check it out. Like I said, I think it's a lot of just interesting talk, and that's another part of the whole business that we don't really do a lot of, is talking to retailers. And this comes down to a basic, I guess it's a weird relationship we have as a producer of games and stuff and comic books and stuff. I don't get an opportunity to really get out and talk to retailers as much as I should. I think the real issue becomes it's just timing, because retailers are always busy. I mean, retailers are busy running their store. I'm busy running my business. So, and especially since I work in my business at night, there isn't a lot of good time to actually meet with a retailer, sit down, and pitch what you're doing. And so most of your selling is kind of, I guess, forced is the best way to put it. It's kind of forced on at the distributor level. And if you've ever dealt with a distributor, their main job is selling product. They don't care if it's your product or somebody else's, as long as it gets sold and they get their money. That's what they care about. So, they'll sell nuts, bolts, whatever. Your product is just like another thing to them. So it kind of gives you a little weird feeling. And I think, and this is what I like about comic books over RPGs. Comic books have a fundamental system set up where that every Wednesday, or whatever day it used to be, Friday, back in the olden days, but every Wednesday, new product comes out. It's ready that Wednesday, you go to the store, you get it, and then every week it comes up again. Gaming kind of has the same built-in structure, but it's not, we don't do it as often as comic books do it. I think, plus comic books keep it relatively cheap, which I'm going to use the word relatively because it's not really that cheap anymore, but whatever. I've already discussed about that in many things. Yes, thank you. Chad put the link actually in the bottom of this already. You can go direct to Black Diamond Games and read what Gary had said. Gary, I'm a big fan of Gary. We've had Gary on the show before. He gives a lot of good input about, with retailers. It's just a nice little thing you might want to do to check out. Just a thought. So, yeah, it's the one piece that I've always thought was interesting with RPGs. There isn't a weekly release schedule. I mean, for PDFs, yeah, that kind of started, and even I've told people that's a great way to basically get market share. But big companies don't really do that. Big companies don't release. Well, they release a new product, I say, every month, but not every week. There's not like a newspaper that comes out with the RPG and you got all this just weekly content. And I always wonder, well, I mean, okay, the closest thing to that would probably be the Adventure Paths from Paizo. That's a monthly book they release. It's a full adventure, source book, stories, monsters, and additional content. So I guess that is the closest thing to doing. Also, the price point, much, much higher than a comic book. And like I said before, I think comic books are also overpriced. I wish there was a way we could find to make, Adventure Paths somewhat cheaper. But once again, it's expensive to make a role-playing game product. Same with comic books. It's expensive. So this goes back to the same argument, and I think this thing can tie back into Comic Book Wednesdays, or Wednesday's comic book. We need to get more people playing, reading, involved in this hobby, and actually spending money in this hobby. E3 is going on right now. If you're a big video game fan, you are probably loving the trailers that are coming out for the products coming out soon. I don't get to play video games as much as I used to, but I love looking at the trailers. I'm a huge video game trailer fan. I like a good trailer. I think the guys doing trailers should be doing action scenes for movies. Some of these guys are like amazing. And, you know, I wish to see more of this. So I'm a big fan of that. And you see them. I mean, look, the video game industry, I guess now makes more money than probably the movie industry. And I think you're going to see more and more is that video game companies become their own animation companies. They become their own production companies. And they start approaching, you know, smaller other venues like Netflix to develop stuff. I mean, okay. This also goes back to my Joss Whedon fantasy. Yes, I did see Spider-Man on the PS4. It was pretty awesome. I didn't like the costume, but it's a nice variation of the costume. But I was like, okay. I saw For Honor. I liked the trailer. I thought it could have been better. I would have liked to see a little more. Because that guy off the side, I'm like, what's going on the side? You know, just watching. Even with the arrow, I think there could have been more going on. I want to see more. It got me interested, as anything should do. But like I said, I think that there's got to be a way to get small companies, even guys as small as us, because I mean, let's be honest, RPG companies are really just IP machines. Any of us who have built a campaign setting with a world, with art, we have built an intellectual property that we can package and sell somewhere else. You know, would New Exodus make a great video game? Yes, of course I think that. Would Pathfinder make a good video game? Yes, of course, they're trying to do that. So I think there's ways to get us into like that. And this also goes back to, you got to sell. The more you get to sell, the more stuff you get to do. That's why Pathfinder does books. That's why they do ebooks. That's why I've tried to do ebooks. You've got to expand your basic ground where you are to get more. The more eyes that see you, the more potential you have to make money and generate sales, the more potential you have to come out and do stuff. And comic books kind of focus on that very well, you know, weekly. I mean, if you want to see how well a comic book character or a comic book is doing, just count how many books the person's in. You know, Wolverine is an incredibly powerful and popular character, but he's in way too many books. I mean, when I was growing up, Wolverine appeared in one book. He was an X-Men. And then he got his own series, which is like a big thing. You know, ooh, Wolverine, own series, kind of cool. You know, it's just like, but then he starts appearing everywhere. He's in every book. And this is why I kind of hate the Quesada years, the Joe Quesada years of Marvel. He's taken the formula that works for Justice League of America. And Justice League of America works very well because it took its most powerful characters, put them all in one book, and they'd fight bad guys. Only problem is, you can't really think of any major JLA villains except for like Darkseid that the JLA fought on a regular basis. You know, it's like, oh, I mean, the JLA had villains, but not were equal to the heroes they were facing. You know, like the old joke, DC's got the best heroes, but Marvel got the best villains. I mean, let's just call it like it is. So it's kind of sad that they went for that approach for Marvel, because the Avengers were supposed to be the anti-Justice League of America, even from the concept in the beginning. You know, constantly changing roster, constantly changing people involved, constantly, and everything was different. So, and then to do what they did, you know, it's like, that's why Luke Cage got on the team, which I was always like, why is Luke Cage on the team? I like Luke Cage, I'm like, but he's a hero for hire. He is a mercenary. So is Iron Fist. That is their job. They are mercenaries, bodyguards. Nothing wrong with that, but just, that's what they were. Why did they need to be Avengers? And they made Daredevil Avengers. Like, Daredevil does not need to be an Avenger. And it just became a whole big, we got a popular character, shove him in the team. And then they expanded the teams even further and further, and just got to a point of, like I said, I'm an old-time Avengers fan. I bought the Korvac saga off the rack as a small child. If you go, what's the Korvac saga? You're not old enough, so forget it. You know, it's kind of, I'd say upsetting, not upsetting, but upsetting that the Avengers have tons of great characters already in them. They didn't need to add any more. You know, at one point, you know, it was an honor to join the Avengers, and now it's just become something to do. And, you know, the X-Men at one point was an honor to be in the X-Men, and then they split off into billions of groups. So I guess the problem becomes that, you know, at this instances, marketing. Oh, look at this. I see it the other way around. Oh, we think Marvel has the best villain? DC's oh no, God. DC's villains are pretty goofy. I mean, let's just call it like it is. See, of course, we're going to have an argument and disagreement, and this is what I live for. Look, Marvel's heroes are awesome in the sense of the real world. Spider-Man is an awesome character in the real world. But let's be honest, who'd you rather be? Spider-Man or Superman? As boring as Superman is, got a nice power set. You know, Batman, Batman's probably the closest Marvel character from DC. And I'm thinking, who would be the closest? I guess Cap would probably be the closest. Yeah, Cap might be the closest DC type character from Marvel. You know, it's just. Yeah, I guess, yeah. I'd call that be close. But it's like the Punisher could not exist in DC. I mean, they tried him several times. They tried him as a vigilante. I guess Deathstroke is kind of the closest thing to that. And even Deathstroke doesn't really work that well. He very much is Captain America, which seems to work. It's a tough scenario. Like I said, I think the villains in DC are not interesting. But especially against their Superman's biggest nemesis is Lex Luthor, which I've never understood why that's even a battle. Joker and Batman, yeah, makes sense. Cheetah and Wonder Woman. Yeah, I mean they could do that better, but I don't know. It could be better. I would make it better. Hello. So, it's one of those things. I just think I wish they'd just write it better. Maybe. I don't know. You know, once again, this goes back to the same issue of what is important to write about, how to get people interested. I think Marvel, but let's be honest, Marvel's big villains. Magneto, Doctor Doom. Magneto on a base level concept is pretty easy to understand. And, you know, I always thought the whole idea of Professor X being Martin Luther King and Magneto being Malcolm X is a great dichotomy. You know, just easy to understand, break it down, you know, different sides of the same coin. And in Magneto, is Magneto a villain? I don't know. He does villainous things, but he also has been attacked. He's tried to reform. But deep down, is he really a villain, or is he just an anti-hero to the extreme? Like Namor, anti-hero, complete, absolute anti-hero, and great villain, and great hero. You know, so like I said, there's a lot of cool things in Marvel villains I do appreciate. So that's always been my thing. But I think DC has made some very amazing strides in their villains. Captain Cold. Well, let me phrase it. Any villain Jeff Johns writes, I think he goes out of his way to make it awesome. So you get some really cool stuff. Yeah, I guess all of his are pretty awesome. Ooh, it is hot out here. I'm gonna go inside because it's so hot. It's funny you said Suicide Squad. I am a huge fan of Suicide Squad, the one that Luke McDonald did the art for and John Ostrander wrote. I think, that's better. I think Suicide Squad, that incarnation, not this monstrosity they're putting on film. I think that's just a ridiculous piece of garbage. I think the original one could be done well. It would have been done great to see on film. I'm mad that the characters on Flash got killed off because of the movie. Because the Deadshot on Flash, the TV show was awesome. That guy was perfect for it. But once again, DC did not think about that world. I don't know. Maybe if I was DC and if I was running, I'd be like, okay, this guy's on the movies on Earth 2, and everybody on the TV show's on Earth 1, and just play it out that way. Man. Really? See, I just noticed this part. Marvel doesn't have villains per se, just antagonists, which is different. I think Marvel very much has villains. Master of Evil, for example, they're villains. They are villains. They have been villainous. Taking over Under Siege and Avengers. You know, that was one of my favorite runs. You know, the Avengers, normally a 7-man, 9-man group, faces 24 members of the Masters of Evil, including the Wrecking Crew, Titania, the Absorbing Man. They were just top-heavy, just powerful, like, bam. You know, and, you know, Claw, Great Gargoyle, Screaming Mimi. Good look. Yeah, there was a lot of people in that. Good look, there was a lot of people in that. And, that was a awesome done series. So, I think Marvel just has, I think antagonism, yeah, they're good at that. But, I'm sweating, it's that hot. But, yeah, I think they do solid villains. Because, Doom is definitely a villain, but he's a hero of his own story. And I think that's kind of the thing. Everybody sees themselves as the hero of their own story. You know, Lex Luthor is very much the hero of his own story. Captain Cold, I guess, is very much the hero of his own story. Sinestro is definitely the hero of his own story. See? Okay, maybe not all the DC villains are bad, but there's a lot of bad ones. Yeah. All right. I'm going to get out of here. Like I said, check out what Gary Ray said about retailers. It'll be a great little thing. There's a link already here, so check it out. And I'm going to get out of here because it's so hot and I'm about to pass out. And good Lord, it's just ridiculous hot today. It's Florida. All right, talk to y'all later.